Welcome back to the Coffee Bar with your favorite bartender, A5 Cup of Coffee. We are here with the breakdown in the episode 8 of Wandavision. We are one episode away from the finale, and I'm excited, guys. I'm definitely excited. I like the way this show has been run. We're going to talk about this episode, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about a few theories at the end here. So welcome back to the Coffee Bar. You know we can't do this without a nice drink. This is the Strawberry Cold Red Dugarita, and it's awesome. So check out my last video. I will be showing y'all how to make the Strawberry Cold Red Dugarita, just in case you want to make it back at home. But here we go. So this episode is a little bit different than the rest of the episodes. First and foremost, it does not have a starter. It starts off with the Marvel logos and everything, and then it turns Agatha Harkness purple. The Marvel turns Agatha Harkness purple and clouds out. So we don't get a actual sitcom or anything like that this time around. However, I think that points to the fact that we are all caught up to the present at this point. We're done with the episodical differences with the different types of years and everything like that as far as the TV shows go. So we kick off with a flashback instead of Agatha Harkness, and she is at the stake, and there are a bunch of witches surrounding her, including her mother, and it looks like they're trying to destroy her. For one reason or another, she is one of the more powerful witches, and it seems like they believe that she has used witchcraft for a darker purpose. And she flat out says, I didn't, break the rules or anything. They just bent to my power. And they try to destroy her, but you actually see that the witches are just drained of their power, including her mother, and she takes the brooch from her mother and flies off. Now, to me, that personally represents where in the comics, Agatha Harkness was unceremoniously, as I told y'all in one of my previous episodes, she was burned at the stake. That's how she actually ended up dying. The New Salem recruits and a witch, a powerful witch, actually got her, and they burned her at the stake, and then we got the whole Wanda and Vision and the kids and all of that. So I think they were just kind of trying to show a nod to that. Nice job, Marvel, on that. And then we start the episode. Now, we find out that Agatha is very disciplined and knows a lot about witchcraft. The cool thing about this episode is it focuses completely on Wanda and Agatha. That's it. We don't have anything with the Vision. We don't have much with Hayward until the very end, and we don't have much with Darcy or Monica for that. Sorry, babe, I missed you in this episode, but she wasn't even in this episode. So we progress forward, and the Nexus commercial. If you remember the Nexus commercial from the previous episode, in this episode, it basically what everything that the Nexus commercial described, that's what happens here in this episode. Wanda has to, face her truth. Wanda has to kind of relive her trauma a little bit, and at the end of this, it may make her feel a little bit more depressed. So, and I'll explain why at the very end here with what happens with Billy and Tommy and what happens with Vision. So, that being stated, sorry guys. That being stated, let's kind of move forward through everything here. So basically, Agatha is trying to figure out how Wanda's powers work. She has her, in this basically, I call it the demon trap from Supernatural because that's where the demons couldn't use their powers. But she has her in a witch trap where only her powers work, where Agatha's powers only work and not Wanda's. So she has her, and she kind of beats her up against the walls a little bit and kind of explains to her, hey, listen, it took me forever to learn this spell with transmutation. It took me forever to learn this spell where you can control someone's mind. But you did it with this many people. You did it from miles away, and I can't even do that. How did you do this? And we find out that that's why Pietro came to the door. He was her brother, and Wanda believed that it was her brother. So Agatha thought that maybe Wanda would disclose to him how her powers work, but Wanda doesn't understand how everything happened. We're gonna get into that in a few moments as well. So we get to relive some of Wanda's trauma, starting off with when her parents died. We get to see why Wanda, kind of dressed the city up as she did, because she really liked sitcom shows. And we see in the suitcase, it has like the Malcolm in the Middle. It has Bewitched in there, which is the where Agatha's house is, and she even makes a nod and said this Bewitched basement because it's the Bewitched house. And we see that, and we see Dick Van Dyke, which is the first episode where that came from. How everything was black and white and everything was so perfect. So that's where we start getting the sitcoms from, and the nods to Malcolm in the Middle and all of that, because that's what she used to watch. Her dad used to bring them home to help them learn English, and she loved watching those sitcoms. Pietro on the other end did not like them very much, but he did watch them with Wanda. In any case, as they're watching the show, the floor falls out from under them, just like they said in Age of Ultron, and the missile hits. It says start, and it does the beeping. The beeping sounds just like the toaster from the first episode, which I thought was pretty cool callback from not only their childhood as they described it, but also to the first episode. So everything's coming full circle right now. You hear that beeping, and Wanda reaches out, and Agatha makes the assumption that, hey, you made a hex spell, probability hex, where it wouldn't explode and kill you all. That's why y'all were safe the whole time. It wasn't that it didn't go off. You made a hex spell. So this leads us to believe for the first time that actually Wanda was a witch or a mutant before she came in contact with the experimentation with the Mind Stone. So we move forward, as a matter of fact, to that to the whole experimentation, and we see that Wanda gets a amp from the Mind Stone. Her coming in contact with the Infinity Stone, instead of killing her, it amps her powers. So that's where we are at this point right now. Her powers are still being multiplied by having contact with the Mind Stone or Loki Scepter. I don't think they had a plan for that being the Mind Stone at the time, but check this out. That's how he was able to control Hawkeye. That's how he was able to control Sylvie. It was the Mind Stone inside of his scepter. In any case, moving forward past that, that's where she experienced Strucker. That's the second episode. We see the Strucker watch and all of that. That's pretty cool. Callback to all of that. Wanda was very reluctant to go into that, but she did. And then we see her and Vision giving her advice on grief, and the line that he says, "What is grief but love trying to persist?" I love that, or love persevering. I absolutely love that line. And basically, he's trying to tell Wanda that the reason why you feel grief is because you've had love, and love is still trying to persevere throughout your life, even though you've lost so much. And I believe that's why her and Vision's connection is so ironclad. Not only that, they both share a connection to the Mind Stone, with Vision actually having it in his head, and her being experimented on, where her powers actually are multiplied or derived, however you want to look at it, from the Mind Stone. They have that connection. That's why she's able to, quote unquote, feel him. So as this happens, we kind of see that Agatha is really trying to figure out, listen, you had the little small spells, but where are these big guns coming from? How can you actually control this amount of people and actually transmutate all these things to your will? Like, I still don't get it. And that's why she's taking her back through this trauma. And again, it's all referring back to the nexus, where you have to face your destiny and face your truth. And the Doctor, I think a lot of people thought the Doctor was Doctor Strange, which it still could be, but I think the Doctor personally is Agatha. She's trying to tell her to move forward. And Agatha even states that, hey, I've been trying to nudge you out of this fantasy to find out who you really are and what your powers are all about, but you want to kind of stay in this fantasy, so I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. So all of these things have been to get Wanda alone and find out what she's done. So moving forward, we get a flashback. The next thing that we see is we get a flashback of Wanda actually, quote unquote, storming S.W.O.R.D. Now, we do figure out that we are actually shown. I think we all knew that Wanda didn't actually storm S.W.O.R.D. as he said. But if you look at the video in the previous episodes, you see that no one is actually panicked, no one's running around when she's storming S.W.O.R.D. as Hayward put it, and as he tried to put it out as far as when he showed it to Monica and everybody that, you know, Wanda was a terrorist, quote unquote. And the thing about it is, we now know that the reason why everybody was so calm is because she didn't storm S.W.O.R.D. She walked in and she asked for Vision's body. Hayward actually let her back to see Vision and to see what they were doing to Vision's body, which was basically dismantling all RoboCop 2 style. And I mean, he's just kind of laid out on the table, as y'all saw in the video before, in the previous episodes, where he was just kind of dismantled. And what Hayward was attempting to do is find out what makes Vision tick. He wanted to have Vision back online. He even stated that, hey, you have the power to bring the love of your life back online. And he recanted and said, bring him back to life. And I feel like Hayward was trying to manipulate Wanda at that point into actually bringing him back to life, doing exactly what we all thought, that she stole his body and turned him back on from the pieces. But she didn't. She actually refused. She went down. I mean, she did break the glass. Hayward told everybody to stand down. And I believe he thought that Wanda was going to bring him back online using her powers, but she refused. She without the Mind Stone, she couldn't, quote unquote, feel Vision anymore. And I believe it was more than the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone was wrapped into Vision as far as his personality, and she couldn't feel him anymore. So she left him there on the table. She leaves, and Hayward is still there with the body part. So now we know at this point, Wanda never took the body. And now we understand there was a Paul Bettany interview with Elizabeth Olsen where he was saying that at the end of Endgame, Wanda was supposed to steal Vision's body, and that was supposed to lead into this show. However, it's good that they left that out, because now they don't have to kind of recant that or retcon that at all, because she didn't take his body at all. Now, we're going to get down to what actually happened and how it relates to comics and how it relates to a lot of people's theories here in a few moments. The cool thing is that if you want to see that interview, I posted it several times on my page. Follow me at Feel More Coffee on Facebook. But I posted it several times, and on my show, just kind of showing people that little interview where Paul Bettany thought he was fired, but he really wasn't. They were trying to bring him in for the show and all of that. And him hoping that that the scene with Wanda stealing his body was going to be at the end of Endgame. But looks like the producers, Kevin Feige and other people, had other plans, and that's why they didn't go forward. Anyway, moving forward, we see Wanda kind of roll through Westview. She's rolling through Westview, and Agatha's just trying to kind of figure out, what exactly happened here. And she opens the deed to some land, and the deed said growing old together, and it had a heart around it. The heart resembles the same heart that was on the calendar. Now, someone pointed out to me, shout out to all my people that follow me, all my people that inbox me, but shout out to Kitty and a lot of her followers. We had like an open forum about this, and they were saying that the calendar and the deed were in fact the same thing, and I could see that. I pointed out the fact that, hey, that heart was the same thing that was on the calendar, and someone else pointed out that it may be actually the deed. That's why she couldn't remember what date that was. It was just on the calendar, but it was the deed for them growing old together. That's the thing. This was the start of us growing old together, and I thought that was pretty neat. I think that was pretty emotional. She looks at this deed, and a big burst of power comes out from her, and you see the house being built around her, and afterwards she does another burst of energy, and you see everything in Westview being turned into the show from the 50s, which would be the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's where we started off at. And that was pretty cool to actually see what Wanda did. Then after that, you see the energy from the Mind Stone, which again, I'm kind of pointing at that as the connection between her and Vision. One of the connections as far as their powers are concerned, and one of the connections why they understood each other so much. You see him manifesting from her powers. And that also explains why he can't leave the Hex. He can't leave it because he's a manifestation of Wanda's thoughts about him. And she made the quote-unquote perfect vision where he didn't remember himself dying. He didn't remember going through that trauma with Wanda. He didn't remember anything. He just knew that he loved Wanda. And that kind of dates back to Darcy, where she was saying, I know you all are meant to be together. That also kind of dates back to the previous episodes where I believe it was New Rockstars that pointed out that Vision gets a little bit sadder, a little bit more weary every episode when you see him in the beginning credits or whatnot. So moving forward, let's take a drink to that. We have Wanda. And what we've learned in this episode, Wanda, as a baby, already has some semblance of power. Whether it's that she was just a witch, which kind of points back to the Spooktacular episode where she was a fortune teller instead of the quote-unquote Scarlet Witch. She was just a fortune teller, which points back to that maybe she was just a witch with manifesting powers. Or it could be pointing to the fact that her and Pietro were maybe some of the first mutants in the MCU. We gotta wait to see. I like either one. I can go either way with that. I'm okay with either one. Either way they explain it here later. Now, Wanda does ask after all of this, or a little bit before, where are my kids? And Agatha does kind of make fun of the fact that her accent comes and goes, and it seems like as she pleases. And again, I pointed this out in one of my live shows that an accent when you're angry, if you have like maybe a country accent or a northern accent, or maybe even an English accent, when you get mad, your accent does seem to come out more. I've seen it with plenty of cultures. I've seen it with, people from the South, myself included. I've seen it with, Latino people. When they get upset, they start going back and speaking in their native tongue. I mean, you even see it on, if you ever watch as a child, I used to watch it with my mom, I Love Lucy. When Ricky Ricardo gets mad, he starts to speak in his native tongue, and he starts to speak with more of a accent when he gets mad. And that's the same thing with Wanda here. So it's cool that they're kind of making fun of it, but at the same time, people do it all the time. In any case, kind of moving forward, you hear the kids in the background kind of, screaming for their mom, and Wanda runs outside, and Agatha has like the powers, this powerful leash. It looks like the purple powers, but it's like a leash around both of the boys' neck. And she actually tells, first time they actually name drop her as the Scarlet Witch. Agatha says, hey, you're supposed to be a myth. You're not supposed to exist. You are the Scarlet Witch. And the episode ends. Now, the end credits actually hit us with Hayward finally gets the power source he needs to actually power the Vision body that he actually still has, that we always thought that Wanda stole, which now we know she didn't. And it's the White Vision. It's the White Vision from the comics, and we're going to explain all the theories here in a second on both of those things. Now, we're going to go back to the boys here in a second. Billy and Tommy are under Agatha's powers right now, and I don't know if Agatha pushed Wanda to have the kids in this version like she did in the comics, but if she did, and Agatha is the main antagonist here, that if we don't find out anybody is behind the scenes, I don't think Billy and Tommy make it out of this. And I think Wanda is worse for wear because of it. She faces her truth that they are not real. And as the Nexus commercial says, she's more depressed because of it. Not only that, she loses Vision as well, or at least a part of Vision, because if he's a manifestation and he can't leave the hex once the hex comes down, which is probably why she's reluctant to do it, which we saw that with her talk with Monica last episode. She's reluctant to do it because if the hex comes down, Vision goes away, or at least that version of Vision that she remembers with all of the feelings and emotions. Now, we got both of those issues and Wanda dealing with them after, because this hex is going to come down one way or another. And I believe, like I said, Billy and Tommy don't make it out of it. In the comics, he's reabsorbed by Mephisto. And in this, I believe if the hex comes down, it's very possible that they're reabsorbed, or they just flat out fall to pieces, kind of like Vision did, because they are not real people at this point. So you guys let me know what you all think is going to happen with Billy and Tommy. I did a live on this Wednesday, and a lot of people are saying they don't feel like the Magic Twins make it out of this. They just haven't. History shows that they haven't. We may still give them some type of way because they're trying to gear up for the Young Avengers, Marvel is. But it's not looking too good for the guys right now. Now, moving forward, the white or the Vision that is void of color, he is actually in the comics as well. And a lot of people that I've conversed with or anything do believe that that's the doorway for Ultron to come back. Now, if you go and look at Google, just like Evan Peters is in the cast, so is Mr. Spader himself, which is the voice of Ultron. He's in the cast as well. Now, mind you, if that's the case, it's very possible that it is the doorway for Ultron to come back, or the voice could be Ultron's voice because Jarvis isn't included. It's just the magic and his body. So it could be Ultron's voice that we hear. That would still be a pretty cool nod to what Ultron was supposed to be, because Vision's body is indeed Ultron's. It was supposed to be for Ultron to actually progress to. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. The Vision in the comics that was void of color, actually, it's a convoluted story, but in any case, it was the version of Vision without all of his personality. That's what the white Vision represented. It was more robot than anything else. And whether that's what this Vision is going to represent, just Wanda kind of mentally breaking because she sees Vision, but he's not. He's just cold and unfeeling. That could be a bad thing for her as well. So we got a lot of theories out there. I'm hoping that, man, Wanda comes out of this in one piece, because it doesn't look good for the homegirl right now. If the hex comes down, her version of Vision is gone. We got the fake Vision, or I'm not even gonna say the fake Vision, but we got the Vision, or All Vision, or Vistron, or whatever y'all want to call him. We got the white Vision out there that is gonna be a memory of Vision, but it's not gonna be Vision for Wanda. And then we have the boys that are completely magically made or hex made that I don't feel are gonna make it outside of this hex. And Wanda, I don't know how she's gonna face her truth that this is not a real thing. She's gonna come out of it worse for wear, from what I'm seeing here, because it sounds like she's gonna lose everything that she's holding dear, and she's lost so much already. So you guys let me know what you all think in the comments, in the below. And the strawberry Dugarita, check out the video. You guys, I know you're gonna enjoy the drink. Thank you for joining me at the coffee bar in the breakdown of episode 8. We got one more episode, and then after that we get Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'll be doing all episodes instead of the last half like I did with Wandavision. I'll be doing all episodes for this. Join me next week. Because of what we got going on with the two Visions kind of running around, I did get an idea submitted, and I am gonna do it. We're gonna do a drink called Double Vision for next week's breakdown. Join me for the Double Vision. Hope y'all enjoyed the breakdown. Y'all have a great one. It's been A5 Cup of Coffee. Like, share, and subscribe, and we are out.